This podcast is brought to you by Legend Comics and Coffee in Omaha, Nebraska, located in scenic downtown Benson. They got a new location. It's absolutely gorgeous. Check it out. And by listeners like you. Go to Patreon/Two-Headed Nerd. Become a patron. Support this show.
Once, they were two best friends managing a comic book store. But when an innocent blood oath went wrong, the two found themselves trapped in the same body, imprisoned in a strange pyramid made of long boxes, buried deep below their hometown, where they are doomed to discuss comic books until the end of time. They were once Joe and Matt. Now they are known as the Two-Headed Nerd. And this is their podcast.
Broadcasting from the Ziggurat at Omaha in caverns deep below the metro area, it is our pleasure to welcome you to episode 792 of the Two-Headed Nerd Comic Book Podcast. I'm your head number one. My name is Matt Baum.
I am the Internet's Joe Patrick, your head number two. It's time for another new comic show where we'll review 8 comics from the past 2 new comic book days. After that, we'll set you up with our must-read new comic picks for next week.
In this episode, we welcome Robert Kirkman's Transformers, only to get knocked the fuck out in the first round of DC KO. Then we get shot by one of the future sleeveless Marvel Knights, and all hell breaks loose when the Fantastic Four teams up with talking gargoyles. The Men in Black try to stop us from talking about Chris Condon's new book, and we even find some time to mention even more comics. We're insane! All of this and more, because it's review time in the Ziggurat.
Before we try to distract you by switching up another segment, let's explain how our rating system works. Each comic we review is rated using our 3-point scale of buy it, skim it, or leave it. This is not science, it's opinion. And we'd love to hear yours. Just don't expect us to agree with you, even if you're well-reasoned.
Especially if you're well-reasoned.
Macho, fire up the cosmic treadmill, but point it to the future of the Marvel U for this first one.
I don't know if the cosmic treadmill can do that. Can it do that, Macho?
It can go to the future. I don't know if it can go to the Marvel Universe, but...
The device has been calibrated to glimpse a possible future of the Marvel Universe, set 25 years before the world yet to come. Of course, when spoken aloud, such a concept is utterly meaningless. And so, gentlemen, I wish you the very best of luck as we turn our attention to your review comics for the week of Wednesday, the 8th of October.
We begin in the now future world of Marvel Knights, The Punisher, number 1. That's right. If you missed it, Marvel Knights has jumped to the future for the world to come. Although the Daredevil story where he's old in the world to come, not the same world to come. That's
not part of the world to come.
That's a different
more of a
Marvel future. Yeah. So, great job, Marvel. I'm right there with you.
I think it's part of the radioactive spermiverse.
Could be.
Of Spider-Man Reign, maybe.
That could be. I think you might be right. This is from Marvel. It's written by Jimmy Palmiotti with art and cover by Dan Panosian. Letters by Richard Starkings and Comic Craft's Tyler Smith. I don't know if we're beefing with the VC kids, but Comic Craft is back in town, baby.
It's just because Comic Craft was the original letter of the Marvel Knights books.
I mean, fair enough if you say so, but this sure doesn't feel like the original Marvel Knights books, so hooray.
Yes, I know, but they are capturing they're capturing an aesthetic.
I get it. It's 32 pages. It is $4.99. Like I said, this is the future of the Marvel Knights universe, okay? So, Old Man Frank, new design. We'll talk about all that in just a little bit. There really isn't much else you need to know. The book opens with a strange open letter from Frank to the bad guys of the future Marvel universe, I guess. He's just kind of yelling at them. Like, I'm coming to shoot you in the face because you're all guilty and nothing ever changes. I'm just really old now. Then it does this thing that I don't quite understand. And it does it twice in this book where the setting says 25 years before the world to come.
Yeah. That's because this comic book, despite all of its all caps yelling about the world to come, is actually set before the world to come.
So we're not in the world. This is the road.
Is before the world to come.
The road to the world to come.
In the pages of Marvel Knights, The World to Come, there is stuff going on that sets the world on a path that leads to the future of that book.
Right.
This is set in that same universe, but before the events that kickstart that path.
Gotcha.
If that makes any sense at all.
I guess.
It barely makes sense to me.
Yeah, because I don't want to go real deep into it, but in The World to Come, the first thing we see, the Christopher Priest and Joey Q book, which is very good, T'Challa dies. So if he's 50, if the Punisher is 50 something here, was T'Challa like what? I don't know, 90, 110 when he died? How old was he?
I mean, maybe. Heart-shaped herb, dude. I
guess,
don't know.
yeah, maybe the heart-shaped herb kept him kicking. It doesn't matter. The lettering here, which I talked about, Comic Craft is back, is fantastic. And I forgot what they do over there at Comic Craft. It's nothing like to write home about, nothing you're going to freak out about unless you are a Marvel lettering nerd, which I feel like we've kind of become over the years. But
sure, I recognize lettering, absolutely.
I love this lettering so much. The design of Frank. Let me just start by saying some really nice things about Dan Panosian, because I think Dan Panosian is a very good artist. I want to drive that home. He's exceptional. This design on this old Punisher is just kind of silly. And I can't think of what else to call it. Frank is a smart guy that has always worn, some type of bulletproof tights, bulletproof vest, sleeves, a lot of gloves and stuff, because he is just a guy. And as you get older, you would think it's more important to protect your body. But this Frank wants to show off the guns, so he's sleeveless and wearing a bulletproof vest. It's sort of like the Red Sonja theory of armor, right? I'll just cover my boobs and my naughty bits below, and no one will hit me with a sword there. Right? I guess. I don't know. I don't love this design. What did you think of this design?
I mean, I feel like the Punisher running around without sleeves on his shirt is not high on the list of most ridiculous things I've seen the Punisher
It's not, but I kind of can't handle it. It's not for me. And it's not.
I don't love the design. I think the weird, I think that the weird abstract skull does not really work.
It doesn't. It looks like it's Velcro skull detailing for his bulletproof vest, I guess.
But that's not. Panosian draws the hell out of it, though.
He does, and that's what I would say.
It's just I think as a design goes, it's like
bad design, very well drawn book. It's a beautiful book. And it's sort of beautiful in a strange way, though, because it gave me this sort of classic feel, not so much a future feel, which further muddies the waters of the 25 years before the road to the world to come or whatever. It just feels like this could have been a classic story of Frank at any time in his life, other than the fact that we're drawing him old. There's nothing here that says, oh yeah, we're on the road to the future Marvel universe. This is by no means Dan Panosian's fault. Like I said, the book looks very good. There's some action that gets a little strange in some panels, but I think it's supposed to be very hectic. So I'm okay with that. The story is fine. It's just fine. Jimmy Palmiotti introduces this drug that's taken over, and this drug is intimately tied to a new character named El Zombie, who is mind controlled by the drug.
Spanish for the zombie.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't sure. I thought it meant like with zombie. I'll have that with extra zombie, please. And
where's zombie?
I want
what it means, I think.
I want to drive home the fact that there's mind control here, because inevitably when we introduce a drug that controls your mind, it makes you do stuff, guess who it's going to happen to? The Punisher. Making this the second Punisher book on the stands right now where he's being mind controlled. I don't know if it's a drug in the pages of Red Band Punisher, but that also takes place in a nebulous place. No, he's got
a chip in his neck.
Right. But that also takes place in a nebulous place in the Punisher's
true. We
future,
don't know where it's at.
Past. And it's just like this, I don't know. Maybe it's ill-timed. I'm not saying Jimmy Palmiotti ripped anyone off, but it feels very familiar. I'll say that. By the end, you trudge through some really clunky dialogue. There's some really weird stuff with the FBI that I don't know if it's supposed to be funny. And if not, it just doesn't land or work very well. There's a whole discussion about a dog. It just doesn't really work for me. I can see him trying to capture a lot of what Garth Ennis did for Marvel Knights Punisher, but he just doesn't have the writing chops. And this is a skim it. This is an all too familiar story. Like I said, clunky dialogue, very good art, not great design, but also maybe not Panosian's fault. I don't know. I'm giving this a skim it.
I mean, Panosian did the design.
There's too much.
Unless Quesada did the designs for all these
maybe
books. I don't know.
There's too much Punisher going on right now, I think, with not enough focus, and this is not helping anything.
Yeah. So this is a skim it for me as well. I think when you are building a mini imprint within your line around the talents of Christopher Priest and Joe Quesada,
that's pretty huge, right?
It's pretty huge. And for this book, which is, sure, they're tying it to it somehow. That's fine. Right now, there's no real indicator how it ties in other than it's in the future. But Palmiotti is not nearly as strong a writer as Christopher Priest, and this book makes that patently obvious.
Agreed. And it's come from someone who's enjoyed several Palmiotti stories.
I've enjoyed a lot of Jimmy Palmiotti books in the past. It's been a long time since I've read one, and I think maybe, I don't know, I don't want to say that, modern comics have left Jimmy Palmiotti behind, because I don't think that's the case.
I'm not going to go that far. And we don't know how much editorial. I just don't think that
this is strong at all.
Yeah.
The writing in this is not strong.
We don't know how much editorial's at play with something like this too.
I don't want to make excuses, and I also don't want to make assumptions.
Right.
So, the art is phenomenal. The design aside, Frank's new design is silly. But the artwork is incredible. You mentioned the old school kind of vibe of the art. A lot of that is because I think Panosian does his own coloring, and he does those.
So much cross.
He uses that kind of zipatone almost background dots.
I love it. It's so cool. The coloring is also a little bit old school. And he's got very expressive faces in the vein of guys like Don Martin from Mad Magazine and Will Eisner. Yeah, definitely.
And so it's an interesting looking book when you're talking about like mainline superhero type stuff. It looks great. The story's weak. It's a skim it. I still don't know how it ties into the Christopher Priest book.
We all knows what happens when Joe Patrick makes assumptions. He makes an ass out of you and Umption.
Wow.
Yep.
Check.
Now that we've traveled forward in time, we need to travel back in time to train for a fight that takes place sometime in the future from now.
Yeah. With Red Sonja. And Vampirella. We got to get in shape, bro. Come on.
Fingers crossed that I get Annabelle, because I think I can beat up a tiny doll.
Did you see that movie? Tell me you didn't see Annabelle without telling me you didn't see Annabelle.
But they're going to drop us in an arena.
You're going to lose that fight. She's going to
be haunting me at night while I sleep.
You're going to lose that fight every time. 100% of the time.
We'll see. All right, it's time for the main event. DCKO #1 from DC Comics. It's written by Scott Snyder with art by Javi Fernandez and Zormanico. Colors are by Alejandro Sanchez. Letters are by Hassan Atsmane Alahau. Cover by Fernandez and Sanchez. It's 48 pages for $5.99. I'm going to read you some of the solicit. Yada, yada, yada. Return of Darkseid. Heart of Apocalypse. The Justice League's only chance to defeat Darkseid is to enter a deadly tournament, an epic and over-the-top battle royale that will surprise you. The world's greatest heroes fight to become the champion to enter the ring against Darkseid, but there's a catch. The closer you get to the Heart of Apocalypse, the more it corrupts you, changes you into something dangerous. Which DC character has what it takes to make it to the end? Who's willing to do what it takes to win it all, even if it means taking down their friends and family?
We've been yelling about it in the gang hang for weeks.
Let's get nuts. Okay, so DCKO's here, and I've got a whole lot of mixed feelings about it. There's a ton of stuff packed into the first issue of DC's latest epic, so much so that it stretches the limits of my suspension of disbelief. Things happen in this issue so quickly that it is impossible to believe any of it will stick. And I'm not just talking about the deaths, and there are many. I'm talking about like the things that they do in the 7 days leading up to the tournament. I'm like, they got all that done? The majority of this issue is devoted to setting up the premise. Snyder leans heavily into the game aspect of the whole thing. He's trying real hard to be cool, you guys, and the script really wants you to know it every chance it gets.
I don't know. It kind of worked for me, man. I don't think it felt that cheeseball. Look, this to me, this feels like Injustice done right. Is what it feels like.
Yeah, I get it. You say that, but people liked that Injustice book.
I understand that, but they had no good reason to fight. All right.
Sure.
This sets up a good reason.
He sets up a reason. I'll give you that one. I'll say this. There is a reason that the tournament is taking place beyond just because DC thought it would be awesome.
Yeah.
That is the real world reason, but there is an in-story reason. Whether or not you can go along with that, that's going to be up to you. There's an omniscient narrator throughout this whole issue. And when they revealed what it was, I rolled my eyes hard.
What, really? Really?
I did. I did, man. I'm sorry.
That was for you.
Now,
like, come on.
Nah. If you can accept the premise, which is very silly, even once it's explained, there's a fair amount to like here. We get a very definitive confirmation about one of the biggest questions we had coming into this event. I'm definitely in it for the long haul, just based on that one or two panel reveal. Javi Fernandez's art is very, very good. I just don't know if I love his particular softer, sketchier style for a book like this. Like in my mind, it should be slick, bombastic, and this is like subdued almost. Like even the colors are a little subdued to me.
Really?
Again, not that he's not drawing big bombastic stuff. I'm talking about the style of his line work.
Okay, I'll give you the style is different than like a Dan Mora Justice League or like
sure, right.
For sure. But I think this is pretty bombastic, dude. I think this comes off as pretty.
I think that he's drawing I think he's drawing the ideas that are put in front of him, and he's doing a good job.
Fair enough.
I just think stylistically, for me, I would have rather to see a more. I don't know. I don't know the word I'm looking for. I don't want to say dumber.
A little more Dan Mora.
I don't want I'm not saying he's not good enough. I'm just saying that I think that, slick, sleek, bright, explosive, these are the things I look for. Tremendous design work throughout this issue. I love the pages that are laid out like game boards. That's an especially well done bit of storytelling.
Very cool. Very cool.
Because there's this through line about game night at the Kents with Batman and Wonder Woman, and it's fantastic. Interesting choice of letterer in Hassan. He's got a looseness to his word balloons. They're not slick at all, and they all vary from character to character, which I thought was a nice touch. The lettering is really good. He does a nice job. It's just surprising to me, some of the creative choices that they made. I'm giving this a buy it. I don't want you to think that I'm down on it, because I'm not. I'm invested. I'm in.
It sure sounds
I'm smashing my action figures together. I'm just saying.
It sounds like you're trying to complain.
Man,
it sounds like you're trying to complain because you didn't want to.
I'm not trying to complain. I'm not trying to complain. I'm saying I was hoping that Snyder would take this issue and make everything feel better to me, and he didn't. That does not mean I didn't enjoy it. It just means that there's still road to go. I'm giving this a buy it. I did enjoy it, and I'm interested to see what happens. I mean, there's some buck wild stuff coming down the pipe.
All right. I don't know. I had way more fun with this than I thought I was going to. I do think it was very slick. I don't think it was traditional like Justice League house style maybe that's going on right now between Superman and all the Mark Waid and Williamson stuff. Sure, I'll give you that. But I think this book looks fantastic. It is a little cheeseball. This is a fighting tournament, Joe. Every fighting tournament movie is supposed to be a little cheeseball. I mean, even Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, that's what they're going for. And I think they're kind of nailing it here with more emotional heft than the bizarre stories behind any of those. I had a lot of fun with this. And I don't know, is it making me all feel better? No, I think it's what I expected. And maybe that's why it's not bothering me or anything. It does get a little silly at points. I think the book looks great. I think your only problem with them doing so much in 7 days is it's really hard to draw a musical montage. And every fighting movie has to have a training montage. Okay.
I'll give you that.
No, but I'm giving this a buy it. I'm on board. I'm ready to see these action figures get clinked together. I think they've set it up well. I think Williamson did the heavy lifting. Snyder's going to do the big, dumb, bombastic stuff. And the two are going to be chocolate and peanut butter. I think it's going to be fun.
I hope that you're right. I zeroed in on my main complaint. It's not that I don't appreciate a fighting tournament style, big, dumb, fun book. I think that maybe hanging the fate of not one, but two universes in your comic book line on this big, dumb, fun thing is an odd choice.
Would you prefer an Infinite Crisis? I dare you to say yes.
I always prefer a crisis.
You did not like Infinite Crisis. We all walked out of Infinite Crisis going, what the fuck just happened? Oh, come on.
I think that I liked Dark Crisis.
Okay. All right. You're done.
Again, it's not that I'm trying to hate on it. It's that I think that I think that they're making this big dumb thing way more important than maybe it should be. I don't know. We'll see.
And he gives the book a buy it, folks, if you're paying attention. So
look, I told you I enjoyed it. What more do you want from me?
That's our joke.
I'm not allowed to be critical.
No, you're not allowed to have fun, apparently. Jeez.
I have lots of fun.
Let's bring things back down to earth a little bit and get weird. It's High Strangeness, #1, up 5, from Oni Press, written by Chris Condon, story by Daniel Noah, art by Dave Chisholm, letters by Becca Carey. I'm going to gush about the letters again here. Main cover by Jock, who is so good. 48 pages for $7.99. We talked about it a little bit last week when I was talking about how excited I am about it. Spectre Vision, who puts out a lot of like really good horror stuff, is getting into comics. Daniel Noah is part of Spectre Vision, and he's telling kind of a story that's personal for him because he's had experiences in his life. He's working with Jim Perry, the host of the Euphomet podcast I really liked. That was all about the occult. Perry also writes a big back piece that is very interesting. The assignment here is basically tell a comic book story about a very difficult subject, and that is the idea of what is high strangeness in definition. They do a really nice job in the back spelling it out. But before we get to that, we have a beautifully illustrated comic story about the Men in Black. And if you ever watched any X-Files, then you know about the Men in Black. Not the Will Smith Men in Black. That is not the Men in Black. They're far more approachable. The whole idea here is, and he says it right in the book, and I love the line, but what confronts the experiencer is not merely unfamiliar, it is other. These are stories about people that had experiences that were more than dreamlike, not necessarily horrifying, but life-changingly different. And when you come out of one of these experiences, you're one of two things. You're paranoid that the experience itself is following you and watching you, or you're completely agnostic and you don't want to admit it ever happened. And they do a fantastic job setting up this writer here. His name is Harry Keene. he's based off John Keel. And John Keel is the guy that wrote like the Mothman prophecies and stuff like that. He was an occult writer. He's written about UFOs, Bigfoot. I hope this character continues through this series. It's a 5-issue interconnected story. So I don't know for certain. And there's different creative teams on each story as well. This one I fell in love with because it's Chris Condon, and I love Chris Condon. This guy knows how to write creepy. Not just that, Dave Chisholm, an artist I've never heard of, he has this wonderful, almost colored pencil type style. It reminds me of a more detailed Michelle FIFA type style almost.
The line art is ink, but the coloring is colored pencil.
Okay.
It looks like colored.
That's what it is. And it makes for this classic cartooned yet really odd style. And when there are these moments, these larger moments, like an alien shows up or someone is having a road rage experience, the coloring and the pencils go insane, and it's really fine detailed lines. So it really pushes up and like ratchets that pressure and how bizarre all these situations are. Harry Keene, just like John Keel, was a journalist that didn't even want to report on this stuff, but he gets sent to Indiana to investigate these UFO reports. And this is where he starts to hear about the Men in Black, and him being a reporter, the story to him becomes the Men in Black and how weird all of this is and how this weirdness sticks to you. Once you get too close to it, the weirdness starts to follow you. And they do such a good job spelling that out and ratcheting up the tension. There's other books, Blue Book kind of tried to do this a little bit over at Dark Horse. And while I really like that creative team, it just didn't land for me. This landed, completely landed. By the time I was done with it, all I wanted to do was like listen to more UFO podcasts and get weird again. I'm giving this a huge buy it. I can't promise that every issue is going to be this good because the creative team is going to change. But I do think that a guy like Daniel Noah, who works for a company like Spectre Vision that puts out quality horror, I'm hoping they are handpicking these creators and really going to shepherd this story. Oni's really good at this stuff too, so I trust them as well. Big buy it for me.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, I wasn't as excited about it as you when we talked about it. And it's not because I don't think UFO stories are cool. I'm not.
They're hard to make.
Into the whole.
It's hard to make UFO stories really stand out in a comic book page without making them wacky and fun. It just is.
I'm just not into the whole like Time Life books vibe, you know, where it's the mysteries of the unexplained kind of stuff. I just
understand
don't get into
that nobody under 55 gets your reference.
Yeah,
right
but
now.
most of our listeners will get that reference. I will say that I thought this was incredible. I didn't read the back matter, I confess, but that's just because I was trying to get everything done in time.
And you don't need to. It's really good.
I was really, I found the story of the journalist really compelling, especially because he started as a skeptic, and we see things through that lens as he discovers that some of this stuff might be real. And there's a scene here. I'll tell you where it really sold me. At the beginning of the book, the Men in Black come to visit this girl's house, and it's this girl that reported a UFO sighting. And I'm not going to tell you anything more about that, but there's a scene where they're like, "Is this you?" And they show the article that she's in. And the way the guy puts the torn up article on the kitchen table and then slides it forward with two bony fingers at the same time, like no normal human being moves this way.
That's the whole idea. Whenever
and I was like, oh, okay.
Whenever someone describes the Men in Black, there's always something odd about, like, they are not us, you know?
Right. And it was from then on, I was like, okay, all right. What's going on here? This is a buy it for me. The art is fantastic.
It's
Where's
so
this
good.
guy been?
Yeah.
According to the credits, he did a book called Plague House, which sounds familiar. I'll have to look that up. But this is a huge buy it. It's beautiful, beautiful book. From liminal terror to robots in disguise, it's Transformers 25 from Image Comics' Skybound imprint. It's written by Robert Kirkman with art by Jorge Corona and Dan Mora. Colors here are by Mike Spicer. Letters are by Russ Wooten. Cover by David Nakayama. It's 36 pages for $4.99. Here's your solicit. Optimus Prime and the remaining Autobots must join forces with unlikely allies in order to protect their adopted planet. But Prime's next challenge lies closer to home than he ever imagined. And what is the fate of the Decepticons? Kirkman hits the ground running and resets the whole series here for an all-new arc. We all know that Daniel Warren Johnson's run ended in epic fashion. Kirkman had a lot to live up to coming onto this book, and he does a pretty great job. We get a nice rundown of who's left on the Decepticon side. There's an irate Megatron expressing his displeasure over their recent loss to the Autobots last issue. The first half of the issue is all about Megatron reasserting himself as ruler of the Decepticons after being sidelined for most of Johnson's run. It's a super intense sequence. It shows exactly why a bunch of sentient weapons of mass destruction bowed down to a guy that turns into a tiny little gun.
It's very cool and very classy to let Corona do it, to sort of introduce Dan Mora, right? Your new series artist. And it's cool the way they do it by splitting the book like this. And you can tell they thought about it. Because
there's a definitive transition where they show the Decepticon symbol and then they show the Autobot symbol. And it reminded me it reminded me exactly of the scene transitions in the Transformers cartoon from the 80s where
totally
a logo flipped around.
It's great.
I was like, good job. So in the back half, Optimus Prime and the Autobots, they're helping the people of Chicago rebuild and recover the fallen. There's this nice contrast between Optimus and Megatron. Megatron rules through fear, obviously. Optimus Prime is so gentle, even children are comfortable around him. It's adorable. We get some big-time Energon universe synergy going on with General Flag and a surprise character that made me giggle like a 10-year-old boy. I was a little confused by the stuff going on with the arc, but between that scene and the last one that takes place on Cybertron, there's a lot of forward momentum for the plot, and we get a sense of where things are headed for future issues. The art is incredible all around. I will miss Jorge Corona's work a lot if he is no longer on the book after this.
Yeah.
He brings this kind of like crunchiness to everything that lends itself really well to robots beating the shit out of each other and causing massive property damage.
Like I wasn't worried that like, here comes Dan Mora. That guy's amazing, right?
Of course not. No question. No.
But when the style was so gritty the entire time that when we did get into those Transformers wrestling scenes, it really felt like someone was going to get their guts ripped out. And they did. They got their arms ripped off. They got their body parts torn apart. I don't know. Like, it remains to be seen how violent Dan Mora can make this look. And there's some action here.
I mean, look, Mora's art is super slick by comparison.
Yeah, and it looks good. And there's a power slam from Optimus to Soundwave that looks good. You know?
He still draws the hell out of a big robot beatdown in the rubble. There's lots of rubble even. And if you were worried that the wrestling moves would be gone after DWJ left the book.
Still here. I do think he has some to live up to with Corona, which is saying something. That's wild. Dan Mora had something to live up to.
I know. I am a big fan of Mike Spicer's color work here. Everything in this issue looks really great. There's something about the quality of his palette that I find really appealing. It's almost got a watercolor texture to it, but it's not watercolor. It's weird. We're going to see how this new arc plays out, but so far it seems like Kirkman is picking up right where Warren Johnson left off. Hasn't missed a beat. This book's a buy it. It's good.
Yeah, it is. I don't know why we're worried about Kirkman like slamming the brakes on the script. He's not an idiot. He's telling a different story here. He's telling a Transformers story. I think keeping Spicer on the book is a very good idea because it maintains a feel and a look, even though a new artist is coming in. And this book still feels very animated. It looks great. Transformers is not in any danger whatsoever. This is just a huge buy it. If you've been having fun with it, go. I'm going to warn you, not the best place to start. Probably. You can just pick it up and go. If you just want to go, I get it, Megatron's bad. and Optimus is good. I can fill in the notes. Fine.
I don't really think you need much of a primer for the Transformers.
No, you don't. But I'm saying you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't go check out everything that happened before this.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Like, I was waiting for Kirkman. Thank you. Okay, whatever. And that's not to say that I'm not happy that he's here. I think it's going to be a good time. It's a buy.
I might be tempted to make a waiting for Gardo joke, but I rather suspect the meaning would be lost in this place. Let us return to your comics for the week of Wednesday, the 15th of October, before I'm accused of being a touch too intellectual for this program.
Let's get into our spooky comics, starting with this week's 30 Days of Night, Falling Sun, #1 from IDW. It's written by Rodney Barnes and Steve Niles. I think Steve Niles just kind of came up with the original idea, maybe, and they're giving him.
I think it was just like, story inspiration. By Steve Niles.
Maybe. Art and main cover by Chris Sheehan, colors by Xenon Honchar, who has far and away the coolest fucking comic book name I've read in a long time.
Well, he dethrones he dethrones our other guys that we thought had the best names.
You got to come up with a name if you're going to make that joke. You can't just say that.
I know. Sorry.
So don't worry about it. But here's why he wins, because he also sounds like he could be a scary vampire. Letters by Alex Ray, 40 pages for $3.99. The solicit sets up the town of Barrow has moved on. Those who remember the vampiric terror of 2 decades past would rather not talk about it. Those who don't remember don't believe the stories, and ignorance will be their downfall. We're setting up a return to Barrow, where the story first started. Now, at first I was like, is that a little silly that some people wouldn't believe this happened? But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? There's a bunch of people that don't think those kids in the Sandy Hook school ever got shot. I would argue none of those people live in fucking Sandy Hook. So yes, it's a little bit silly that anyone in Barrow, Alaska doesn't believe there was a vampire slaughter there. These people just freaked out, and they built a giant wall, and they man it with guns for shits and giggles.
They burned the entire town down.
Yeah, and they burned the entire town because they're paranoid, right?
Right.
I can see Barnes working here. Rodney Barnes, who worked on Philadelphia. He also worked on Batman Full Moon. The guy writes vampire stories. And I liked Philadelphia. Philadelphia was fun. It was really well thought out, kind of had a fresh take. Here, he's not guilty of repeating, but it's hard not to feel like we're going back and doing it again, only this time it's for revenge. You know what I mean? And I don't need like an all new Bloodshot take on vampires or anything to make vampires interesting. I love vampires. Vampires are scary. If you're going to tell me a good vampire story, I'm in. This is an apostate story. It's one of the vampires that disagreed with another vampire from the 30 Days of Night universe in a different miniseries that both
His
you...
brother was the lead vampire in the original.
Both you and I probably didn't read that later stuff when they introduced those ideas. They set it up fine here. But at the same time, I cannot help but compare this story to the one that I love, and that's the original. And I would argue everything else that has come out has been fine to middling to plain old bad, right? Diminishing returns, if you will. This just kind of feels like we're doing it again. The art is very solid. There's some great painted art here, but again, I cannot help but compare this artist to Ben Templesmith. That's not to say he's bad, but I will say his vampires aren't as scary. They're just not. There's some really great panels. I like the panel where the apostate guy first returns, and there's fire and there's skulls with fangs, and he's reanimating these skeletons. That looks great. And I'm not asking him to ape Ashley Wood either. This just kind of feels like one of those stories that's, I don't necessarily think Steve Niles had any plans to do more of, and did because it was a hit at IDW. And that's fine if you're going to tell good stories. And again, it's not bad, but this is fine at best. It's fine. This is a skim it. You've run out
of ways to say that it's fine.
Yeah, it's a skim it. And I don't want to take anything away from the talent of Barnes or Sheehan, who are both really good. I just think other stuff they worked on feels a lot fresher.
All right, let me rip the Band-Aid off for you. I thought this sucked.
I don't think it sucked. I disagree with you there. I think it was good character development. I like Ava. I like the aunt. I like Jamal and his uncle.
Sure. I'm not saying that there aren't things to like in it. I'm saying that I think that this book is a failure. 30 Days of Night is a concept that does not merit a follow-up ever. And you're absolutely right that the only
a follow-up or need.
Yes, because it's a perfect short story. Vampires figure out, let's go to the place where the sun never rises.
Okay, maybe need and merit are two different things.
I'm not saying that I don't. By saying I don't think it merits, I'm not saying I don't think 30 Days a Night is great. I do. I'm saying some stories beg for follow-up and others absolutely do not. 30 Days of Night absolutely does not beg for follow-up.
It just feels, it does.
And I
agree.
think that
it feels further stretched.
I think that every time they've done it, I think at first when Niles was doing them himself, it was because it was popular. Mm-hmm. And everything else has been because it's a recognizable name and it's a cash grab. Now, I'm not casting aspersions on Rodney Barnes. Like if the dude was invested in this story, then God love him. But what we've done here is take 30 Days of Night, which is a great little monster story, and turned it into Underworld, where there's societies of vampires ruling the world in the shadows.
Now, to be fair,
dark rituals.
That happened a while ago. Okay, but that
Maybe
stuff happened
did,
before
but
this.
I don't need it, man. I don't need it.
Fine.
The original 30 Days of Night is like a perfect 3-issue arc. That now we are on issue 100 of 30 Days of Night.
There's been a lot of them.
Stack them all end to end.
There's been a lot.
I don't need it. I'm giving this a leave it. I thought all of that crap with the resurrections and the apostates and no, thank you. I also didn't. I couldn't figure out what was happening half the time because they were commandeering a boat and then they were also just in the town.
I didn't have
storytelling
any
is very
trouble.
confusing.
I didn't have any trouble following that. They commandeered a boat and they got to the town.
No, but they didn't need the boat to get to the town.
Yeah, they did.
That's the thing is
they were not there. They went to there because that is where the essence of their souls were. They described that. They were drawn back to there. It says right there on the page.
I understand that that's why they're drawn to Barrow, but I'm saying that idea was not conveyed to me in a way that made sense to me.
Don't think it was out.
I'm giving this a leave it. You don't need to read this, I don't think. If you like 30 Days of Night, reread the original. It's awesome. We're still talking about things that go bump in the night, so let's move on to Hector Plasm, Hunt for the Bigfoot #1 from Image Comics. It's the character that only rears his head once every 16 years. It's written by Benito Cereno with art and letters by Derek Hunter. Colors are by Spencer Holt. Cover by Ryan Otley and Dave McCaig. It's 32 pages for $3.99. Here's your solicit. Itinerant ghost hunter Hector Plasm has faced all sorts of unquiet spirits in his travels, but a series of murders in a Pacific Northwest town lead him to confront a creature more solid than usual, Bigfoot. Can Hector track down a beast that doesn't want to be found, clear his own name, and save a struggling local business at the same time? I hope so. We only got 3 issues. As I said, it has been 16 years since the last time Hector Plasm graced the comics page, and so the primer at the beginning of this issue is both welcome and necessary. It's done with these cave paintings to illustrate it. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's cute.
Long story short, Hector hunts ghosts. That's it. If your spooky troubles are more corporeal in nature,
not his
Hector
job.
Probably is not your man.
No.
Until now. I love the way Benito Cereno turns a phrase. There is a clever cadence to his writing that I really enjoy. It's funny without resorting to a bunch of one-liners. It's just sardonic and clever. There is a fun twist that even in a world of supernatural wonders, everybody assumes that the existence of Bigfoot is bullshit. Which, of course, leads to the reveal that it is not.
Well, but that's also like classic horror movie,
Of
like
course,
logic,
right? Yeah, everyone knows Bigfoot doesn't exist.
Yeah, like,
Cue Bigfoot
there's
ripping a
no
head off a guy.
vampires in Barrow, Alaska. Come on, we just
Right,
did
yeah.
that.
This is a very simple, like wrong place, wrong time kind of plot. It's got a lot of amusing supporting characters. Hector himself is pretty fun. He's got this interesting history. It's a little bit gross. His powers have something to do with his bodily fluids.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's like magic phlegm or something.
Magic phlegm. Yeah, his bodily humors, he says.
Gross.
I absolutely adored the art by Derek Hunter. It's like if Guy Davis decided to become a weirdo cartoonist.
Or Guy Davis decided, I'm going to be funny today.
Sure.
Right.
The characters are super exaggerated. They've got fantastic designs. It is very apparent that Derek Hunter is an animator, which Serino confirms in the back matter.
Yeah. He can still get gory, too. He can still do funny
man, they are
art.
not afraid to turn the gore way up to 11.
That's like one of the things that's really hard when you get in this cartoony, accentuated art is making things not look funny. Right. And so when someone does explode and it's really gross, you go, oh, God, it takes you out of it. It's like the Powers effect that that had on us when we first read Bendis and
sure. Like you wouldn't expect Michael Avon Oeming.
Thank you. Yeah.
Getting dismembered.
But when we got to those pages, you were like, Jesus Christ.
Right. Hunter also does a great job adding his own lettering. He incorporates the lettering into the art.
Great lettering.
Really love.
Really good lettering.
I have loved Hector Plasm since the moment he first appeared. He was a character that popped up in like backup strips in Invincible 20 years ago. I'm thrilled every time he returns. This is a great comeback so far. This is a buy it from me. I was so happy to see him.
Yeah, this is super fun. I don't have any memory of Hector Plasm at all. And I didn't have any problem following this. It's great. This is like, what if Dark Horse's Witchfinder was more fun to read,
Sure, yeah, right.
It's the same take on the monster hunter genre. It's really well drawn. It's gross. It's funny. It's everything you want in a book like this. I'm giving this a huge buy it as well.
The original artist of Hector Plasm, the guy that co-created him and drew the first, all the stories up to now, Nate Bellegarde, he went on to draw Nowhere Men for Image.
Yeah.
And he's super good, but he draws in a kind of a more standard comic style, which is why he was a great fit for that book. And I don't know what he's done since then.
I hope he's getting paid and he's not slinging rock. If the name Bruce Banner does not immediately call up horrifying Lovecraftian monsters in your head, then you have not been reading Philip Kennedy Johnson's Incredible Hulk. I'm talking about the final issue of Incredible Hulk that came out this week, number 30, Your Legacy 811th issue from Marvel Comics, written by PKJ, art and main cover by Nick Klein, colors by Matt Wilson, letters by VC's Corey Pettit, who's not going to put up with this comic crap bullshit. 32 pages for $3.99. The solicit is short and sweet. It says exactly what's going on in this book. Abomination returns! Not the Abomination. Abomination. The biggest status quo change in Hulk's history happens in this issue. It's a rematch to the death as Eldest possesses one of Hulk's greatest villains. Eldest is a character he's been dealing with for a long time. It's kind of a strange name for a character, but it's the son of the mother of horrors.
He's like the Herald of Galactus.
Yeah.
But the monster version.
He's the first child of the mother of horrors who makes their first landmark appearance in this issue. Sorta.
I don't know if it's landmark.
Kinda.
Considering the appearance in question.
This is a gigantic finale fight issue. I'm going to talk about designs again real quick, and it's not going to take anything away from what Nick Klein does, because Nick Klein is an exceptional artist, and I can't think of anyone else that could handle a script like this. maybe Kelly Jones. Kelly Jones might be able to do something like this.
Bernie Wrightson would have been great.
Possibly,
at this,
yeah.
Bernie Wrightson is dead.
The Abomination has horns right now. I don't love it. I like the old school Abomination, but he has horns because he's possessed. So settle down. And they deal with that. I can only assume. I'm telling everybody else to settle down, not me. They deal with it very quickly, too. But the fight scene between the Hulk and the Abomination is massive, and it's gross, and it's awesome, and it takes place in hell with giant skulls and chains and pink backgrounds that are exploding with giant boom letters.
You know that you are in a Hellraiser place when the chains that have weights at the end of them go up instead of down.
And the skulls are flying like helium balloons. Oh,
shit. That's not great.
They're weighted by like helium balloon skulls.
Yeah.
This is just a gigantic death metal fight between the Abomination and sexy long-haired Hulk. And it's so obvious where it's going from the beginning. Everything the PKJ has done in this run has led to this issue. And this issue is a very quick read. I'll be honest. I think I read it in...
It's just a fight and that's it.
Yeah. I think I read it in less than 10 minutes. That is not a complaint. It is supposed to be fast. It's supposed to be desperate. And it's supposed to end you exactly where it goes. And like any good horror movie, this one ends with a kick in the goddamn stomach and a wonderful last page that reminded me of Cabin in the Woods. This is the worst news, not only for the Hulk, maybe for the Marvel Universe. And I love this. It's so good, you guys. This is Klein drawing a kaiju horror fight in the spirit of like Devilman and other hyper-violent 90s anime OVAs. It's just so over the top and perfectly incredible Hulk. This is wonderful. And this run has been great. Go pick it up if you skipped this one. We've had a lot of complaints during the gang hang about stuff going on at Marvel. And I want to be as clear as possible. That stuff does not include PKJ's Hulk. This book is so great. I'm giving it a buy it.
Yeah. And I'll confess something to you. Much like with the Immortal Thor, I fell behind on Incredible Hulk's current run almost immediately just because of life and stuff and needing to read other things for the show, whatever. Excuse. And so I have not read an issue. I haven't read Incredible Hulk since maybe issue like 5 or 6. I jumped on and read this. I was expecting to jump into a story without full knowledge, but I knew that things were going on with this Mother of Horrors because that story's been building since the beginning.
Yeah, since the first issue.
And I was not lost at all. The fight with Abomination, and I want to be clear, it's not the Abomination. It's the eldest wearing the Abomination,
possessing
like,
him. Yes.
Abomination doesn't live here anymore. It is a stunning visual feast. And then the fight ends and the eldest does what he does. And you're like, oh God, what in the hell?
It's gross.
Oh God. Yeah. And like they spent this whole series building up to the reveal of the Mother of Horrors. And then when you see the Mother of Horrors, you're like, oh, well, isn't that something? Her design is
Lovecraftian. It is.
Woof.
Yeah. Eldritch.
It's wow. Right. Yeah, for sure. Nick Klein has not been on this book with regularity. He's been missing for like 5 or 6 issues, I think, at this point. To have him come back and draw the last one was a good thing because I don't think anybody could have done it like this. Absolutely. This is a buy it for me. Just on the strength of the visuals alone, like this book knocked my socks off. And I'm very excited for the Infernal Hulk.
Can't believe we're finishing here. Just feels like
I can't either.
Okay.
I can't either. After everything we've talked about this episode, our palate cleanser for this week is Fantastic Four Gargoyles #1 from Marvel Comics. It's written by Greg Weisman, art by Enid Balam, colors are by Raul Angulo, letters by VC's Joe Caramagna, cover by Torrin Clark. It's 40 pages for $5.99. Here's your solicit. Gargoyles creator and acclaimed Marvel writer Greg Weisman brings the Gargoyles to the Baxter Building alongside star artist Enid Balam. Danger strikes when the supervillain Diablo learns that stone gargoyles may hold the secret of eternal life, but the gargoyles aren't about to let him leech the blood of his own. Fortunately, they've got the help of expert Diablo bashers, the Fantastic Four. Plus, Tony Stark and David Xanatos compare facial hair. Marvel's own gargoyle Isaac Christians bonds with his new kin and more. You won't want to miss this collision of beloved universes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, settle down. It's like there's a certain sect of the nerd population that loved the Gargoyles. I think Gargoyles was great. It was a little after my time, but I thought it was very well done. Greg Weisman has come to comics and he's written a lot of great comics.
Yeah.
He hit the ground running with this comic so fast that I thought I missed an issue. Was the story really too long that they couldn't include like the inciting event, the moment that brings the two groups together?
Maybe they couldn't
Instead,
come up with a good one. Maybe.
Well, they were like, we saw your flare. It's a good thing we didn't fight first.
Sure. I mean, that's the easiest way to do it. There's the time portal pulled me into your universe. And then there's the evil guy master universes together. Or there's the we always lived here. What are you talking about?
Right. But the way they do it is like they missed the part where they both hit the rooftop at the same time. Instead, we come into the story after they've been talking about it for a half an hour.
How important is it for you to see them to fight before they realize we're all on the same side?
I'm just saying storytelling is a little weird there. Once you get over that, fun crossover shenanigans ensue. You got one or two villains from each franchise showing up to cause trouble. The heroes team up in unexpected ways. Lather, rinse, repeat, yada, yada, yada. This particular plot has quite a few moving parts. We've got the Gray Gargoyle and the Defender's Gargoyle, Isaac Christians, who I love. But again, huge plot points are glossed over. They assume that you have a fair amount of knowledge about Disney's Gargoyles, and it's nothing you can't breeze past, really. But they also have Isaac Christians as a prisoner of Diablo, but they don't explain how long he's been there, how he got captured. There's just like, oh no. And then he frees himself like it's nothing. It's very strange.
I guess I kind of assumed there was a free comic book day or thing. Maybe
there was
that I missed.
Maybe there
I don't know. I don't know.
I can't remember the last time I saw Diablo in a comic, but he's the perfect choice for main villain of this story. It totally fits. The art's okay. It's loose and it's sketchy. It's nice. It's also a little on the exaggerated side. It's kind of like a more cartoony Raphael Albuquerque. Very old school depiction of the FF's powers, which I thought was kind of quaint. You got Johnny with all the dashed, the hash marks. Sue's invisibility is just a dotted line. It's like reading a comic from the 60s. We do see some genuinely impressive panels, like a certain winged android busting free of his prison. I thought that was really well done.
I think his art's great. I think his art is really good.
Yeah, I think the art is strong. The comic itself, it's decent enough. It's very low stakes. It's certainly worth seeking out if you're a Gargoyles fan. Honestly, I only came for the Isaac Christians Gargoyle appearance. I love that guy. I can't explain why. I just do.
Okay.
I'm giving this a skim it. The story is really nothing special.
Yeah, it's fun that the real Gargoyle is here. Thank you. And there's sort of a nod to like, you're one of us, Gargoyle. Like that's fun.
Yeah. If you do a crossover with the Gargoyles cartoon and the Gray Gargoyle and the Defender's Gargoyle don't show up, you're doing it wrong.
Now, let me just take it a little further. That's your story. There it is. The Gargoyle, the Marvel Gargoyle. Yeah, he's one of the Gargoyles. And the Fantastic Four are about to find that out. How did you miss that, Marvel? Come on.
Well, I mean, he already has a pretty definitive origin.
Dear
but yeah.
Greg Weisman, you're fired. Matt Baum's writing these now, okay? And I will say, I agree with you. We all knew one guy that liked gargoyles, but I dare you to name two. You know, like I could think of...
There's Goliath, and then...
I can think of exactly... No, I'm saying one person in real life that was a fan of the gargoyles.
Oh, can I name more than one person?
Yes,
No,
we all know that one guy, but nobody knows two.
Right. I thought you meant, can you name two of the gargoyles?
No,
and I
God,
can't do that either.
Cold Stone. I'm looking at one right now. I don't know. And he's named after the ice cream chain. I assume he owns it. Whatever.
Yeah,
I just don't get this. And it seems like the timing is weird. I don't know if there's a new Gargoyles comic or cartoon coming out or anything like that. The story is fine. I don't think I had as much trouble following it. You know, Diablo's been around and the Gargoyles have been around and the Fantastic Four is around. They really did miss something there with Marvel's Gargoyle. And you don't have to completely redo his origin. I'm not going to harp on that crap, but it would be fun if they tied his origin in to the Gargoyles. And I think Greg Weisman writes good comics. And I think there's really good art here. Maybe they just missed something that was too obvious. Maybe the editors would have laughed me out of the room. I don't know. I'm giving this a skim it. The art is very good. The story's fine. I don't give a shit about the Gargoyle in the MCU. And so it wouldn't have bothered me had they changed his origin.
Look, I care. As the Earth's #1 Isaac Christian superfan, apparently.
Everybody knows one Isaac Christian superfan. Nobody knows two.
I'll give you that. That is true. That's it for our reviews, but these weren't the only comics we read in the last 2 weeks. Matt, do you have any honorable or dishonorable mentions?
I was catching up on a lot of Hulk stuff, so not a lot of dishonorable mentions because like I only had time to read quality stuff. Super Creepshow over at Image came out last week. It's more the Creepshow stuff. It was a lot of fun. It's like a superhero take on these horror stories. Dan Waters writes one. Ryan Stegman, artist, writes one with Riley Rossmo drawing. Really good. Ed Brisson's on one of them. A lot of fun. Event Horizon has a series coming out that I totally missed. I saw issue 2 on last week's schedule.
I almost reviewed #1, but I think we did something else then.
Yeah, and so I went back and read #1 and #2. It's solid. It's really creepy, dark, cosmic horror, which if you saw the movie Event Horizon, you know exactly what you should be doing there. And then Terrorbytes this week. Mark Russell book at Mad Cave. A lot of fun. Direct shot across Elon Musk's bow. More robot stories from Mark Russell. If that guy only writes robot stories for the rest of his career, fine with it.
I mean, he also has a history of writing dumbass billionaires.
Yeah, stories, robots and billionaires. That's all I need from him. Just keep it going.
This isn't his first shot across.
It's on brand. What else did you read, Joe?
Yeah. I didn't read this week's issue, but I want to give a shout out to a new book from Dark Horse called The Adventures of Lumen N. #2 came out this week. #1 came out, a month ago. It's by James Robinson and Phil Hester, favorite of the show, nice. Phil Hester. It is essentially an Indian Leave It to Chance. And I don't know if you guys remember Leave It to Chance, but that was another James Robinson book from the 90s. It was James Robinson and Paul Smith doing like young girl detective, but for supernatural mysteries. And not in like a Buffy way, but just like a really fun adventure kind of way. Lumen N is very similar in that vein. I loved issue #1. I'm excited to read issue #2. I read Titans #30, which is the only DCKO tie-in, I believe, for this week. It's good. The Titans have been put in charge of evacuating the entire planet Earth.
Yeah, so not much happens in this issue. It's kind of a slow, talking heads. John
Layman writes it. Pete Woods is the artist. Pete Woods is great.
I love Pete Woods.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to more of this. I also read every Age of Revelation tie-in from last week, and I plan to do the same for this week. And that is what led to Matt's evil plan coming to fruition. Coming to a THN Extra near you at some point in the future. We are going to do a deep dive on the Age of Revelation.
Oh, part 1's happening this week. This extra.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm going to read them tonight, and we're going to record our extra.
We're going to talk about the first 2 weeks worth of tie-ins this week then.
I think we might have enough time to do 1 week and then another week. We'll see how long it goes, but I want to keep these tight because I'll tell you what, as much as I wanted to do this extra, and I waded into it and I went, oh God, like this is exhausting.
This was all his idea. I don't know what he's complaining about now. I will leave it with you at this. They are a mixed bag, obviously.
Of course.
But there are a couple of them that are actually pretty great.
Yeah, we'll get into it in our extra.
That is it for our new comic reviews, but the discussion is just getting started at our Discord, and it continues this weekend in our Gang Hang. Do you agree with our takes? Also, we want to know what you're reading. I want to know if I'm a jerk about DCKO. I know that you guys also have complicated feelings about it. Let's talk about it.
And 30 Days of Night. Let's see.
I'm not being a jerk about 30 Days a Night. That comic is what it is. Head to the Discord. Let's talk comics. Come to the Gang Hang. We'll talk about comics some more.
Right now, we are done talking about comics. We're going to head to the Teach-In Sanctum Sanctorum to talk about next week's comics. It's a whole different thing.
Different. Totally different.
Wednesday, October 22nd, a whole nother boatload of comic books show up at your local comic book store. But Joe Patrick, if you can only afford one, times are tough, right? The economy, we all voted for that guy who's going to fix the economy. Didn't improve. Times got tougher. I don't know what happened. I can only afford one comic book, Joe Patrick. Which one should I pick up next week?
My pick for next week is Justice League Unlimited number 12 from DC. It's written by Mark Waid with art by Dan Mora and Tamra Bonvillain. It's 32 pages for $3.99. I'm not going to read you the solicit. I'm just going to tell you it's Mr. Terrific forming a team of adventurers from the time-lost superheroes left behind after the We Are Yesterday crossover. It's part one of X number of parts. I love a numbered story. It's a suicide mission. I'm on board. You got Batman Beyond. You got Hook Hand Aquaman and Electric Blue Superman teaming up with Mr. Terrific. A better question would be not why did I pick it, but how could I not?
Are they going to kill Mr. Terrific on this suicide mission?
Yeah, kill him dead.
Really? Huh.
Yep.
All right. Well, nobody liked it in that Superman movie, Terrific. So I guess it didn't play out. My pick for next week, Outlaw Showdown, number 1 from Oni Press. It's written by Brian Azzarello, John Arcudi, and Ann Nesenti with art by Tony Moore, David Lapham, and presumably somebody else. It's 56 pages for $8.99. This is more of the Oni EC stuff that they've been putting out. And I don't know if you followed any of those, but we reviewed a couple of them. They've been a lot of fun.
The genre anthology.
Right. They've done their sci-fi. They've done a bunch of horror. It is about goddamn time they got to a Western. And I think anymore, if you're going to do an homage to EC Westerns and Brian Azzarello does not get to write in the first one, you're doing it wrong, okay? And if you don't believe me, check out The Blood Brothers' Mother from Distillery that he is writing. Oh my God, that book is absolutely incredible. Go.
Speaking of Jimmy Palmiotti, as we were earlier, this would be a great place. Jimmy Palmiotti and Justin Gray wrote one of the greatest long-term Western comics of all time in the modern Jonah Hex.
Sure, but that wasn't EC, so...
I know, but I'm saying those guys, get them.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm not saying do Jonah Hex. I'm saying this would be a great place.
Fair. I love this stuff, though, and I love the old EC Westerns. I got a soft spot for them. So these are going to be mean. These are going to be tough. The final line on solicit. Some comic book companies ask you to choose death or glory. At EC Comics, we say, why not both?
Yeah, pretty good.
Excelsior! Oh.
That is it for THN 792. If you dig our new comic show, check out our YouTube channel. I put up a bunch of visuals there now because you kids like to look at pictures, I guess. I don't know. Apparently, we should have been doing this for years. Be sure to like and subscribe, star, write us a review, do all that stuff wherever you get your podcasts because it really helps lift us and get us in front of other listeners.
Next week, the Back Issue Show returns, but if you need more THN before then, join us for the Gang Hang on Saturdays at 11 o'clock Central Time. You can check out our Discord for details at twoheadednerd.com/Discord.
THN is a listener-supported podcast. It wouldn't be possible without the generosity of hard-working artists and longtime supporters that have no business giving us money. They're poor enough as it is. Tim Mayer, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your contributions, Tim. You will get to listen to us review a bunch of mediocre X-Men comics this week as part of our THN Extra. And if you support the show like Tim, you're not just funding a comic book show, you're funding a service, like the animal services come and clean up like a dead raccoon in your front lawn or something. That's what we're doing here. You can sign up to be a patron at patreon.com/two-headed nerd.
Before we go, our weekly shout out goes to legendary artist Drew Struzan, who died this week after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease. Struzan is the kind of artist whose work you definitely know 100%, even if you don't know his name.
Yeah, he's incredible.
He illustrated our entire childhoods through paintings that featured the biggest and best stories we may ever see, including The Thing, Blade Runner, E.T., Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, Big Trouble in Little China, Star Wars, and so many more that you don't even realize that he did. Struzan passed away on Monday at the age of 78. Our childhoods wouldn't have been the same without you.
Until next time, true believers, remember to pre-order your comics. Your retailer might just tell everybody they expect a nerd like you to shout out guys that paint movie posters for Back to the Future, but you could seriously mention D'Angelo. D'Angelo died this week at the age of 51 from pancreatic cancer. The man changed the way we listen to R&B music, for crying out loud.
I thought maybe you were going to say that I picked guys that painted movie posters 2 episodes in a row.
No, but you did, didn't you?
I did.
But that's their fault for dying. That's not our fault, all right?
I didn't, look, it was an accident. It just worked out that way.